Hello, everybody. Hi, Charlene. Hi, Campaign Terrain. Hi, Maya Geeked. Dungeon Matron and Questboard Terrain. Good to see you. Hope you're all doing great. Okay, with us today is Dr. Tom Thompson, resident historian and awesome person. And we're here to talk horror today. How are you doing, Tom?
Doing pretty good, Karl. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the change of hour today, and I've had a training day, so I stocked up on coffee, so should
It's
keep me going through the stream.
a two-fisted drinker. All right.
Okay, so what I was thinking about today was since it's a Halloween themed build challenge, I think I was figuring we could also talk about a bit about what horror is, what different types of horror there are, and how the different builds fit into that kind of thing. Okay, so let's start with how do you define horror?
I get, it's one of those terms that covers so much now,
Mm-hmm.
like everything from what we generally think of as sort of classic Gothic horror to, um, sort of shock horror and all the way to torture porn, I suppose. Um, but it's one of those things where I find that people either like one kind of it or another. They tend not to like all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, if you go all the way back to the Romans and Greeks, lots of ghost stories, lots of, plays by Terence and Plautus about ghosts that basically help to drive the plot. So, are they always scary? Not always. Sometimes they're just, plot mechanisms. But, if you get up to something like, I don't know, Hamlet's father's ghost in Shakespeare, you have a ghost that is essentially a character, and he is sort of he's not malevolent in the way that you think of ghosts as being malevolent. He's not a poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
He's nothing like that. He's not, in a sense, he's only haunting him psychologically. He's,
Thinking about it, the horror in Hamlet doesn't come from the ghost. It comes from what Hamlet is doing and what the other
yeah, the
guys are doing. Yeah.
predicament that he finds himself in. Yeah, exactly. But the fact that at the very, pretty close to the beginning of the play, the ghost appears, it sort of tells you like, what is this ghost? Is he an entity? Is he just a reminder of happier days? What is it? So, ghosts are important, I think, because to a large degree, I think horror is about fear of the unknown or the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly having loved ones come back when you don't, it was like, wait, I
Yeah.
buried you 3 days ago. That's a trope that goes through. I mean, what else is a vampire, right? It's just a guy that got buried and now came back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, that's not normal behavior. So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, and I would like to hear some opinions on what horror is from the people in the stream, but also when I was thinking about what horror is before the stream, the only conclusion I could come to was that it's a bit like pornography. It's like I can't define it exactly, but I know what it is when I
know
see
what
it.
it is when you
Yeah.
see it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I would kind of agree because it has morphed so much over the centuries. You know,
So,
um,
Campaign Terrain is saying, I agree about one or the other. I love stuff like Nosferatu and Wolfman, but I'm meh about Saw, Chainsaw Massacre, Jason, Freddy, etc. And that's another kind of weird thing because when you've got stuff that's kind of splatterhouse or just,
gore.
gore,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it is disgusting, but is it really horrifying? Does it really create that disturbing?
Well, I guess same. The etymology is the same, but is there a difference between horror and horrible?
Hmm.
You know, because gore is pretty horrible, but if literally it's just about killing somebody in the messiest way possible, for me that doesn't measure up as horror. It's shocking, but shocking is not the same as horror.
I mean, thinking about, for example, the Fallout video game. I don't know if you're
Mhm.
familiar with it. I mean, there are some absolutely spectacularly gory kills in that one, but that takes it to the level where it it becomes almost comedy kind of thing, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Well, think about all the. I mean, we've seen a lot of horrible zombies, but we've also seen a lot of comedic
Yeah.
zombies as well. So it's sort of possible to take some of these things and turn them on their heads. I mean, I love killer clowns in from outer space, but you know, and actually, if you take away the fact that they're clowns and the whole one joke aspect of it, it's actually pretty horrible in the sense that strangers come to town and start digesting the townsfolk. That's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
The fact that they happen to dress in really funny clothes and stuff like that, that's sort of secondary. But yeah, I mean, I just I feel like it's easy to make people jump when you do something unexpected, or oddly enough, because if you go to see that kind of horror film, you're pretty much expecting it. But in the moment, if all you do is startle somebody, that doesn't have to be horror. That could be the cat yowling right next to your ear,
Yeah.
or something like that. So
So let's see. Dungeon Matron is saying, I think horror is the feeling that comes about from the loss of control over your well-being in one way or another. Definitely a type of it, yeah.
yeah. Although, of course, that pretty much defines everybody's life. So
True, yeah. Okay,
everybody's living in a horror flick. Great.
and the campaigner is saying suspense, dread, Congress, gore. Not sure about the US Congress, you mean? Yeah. Gore, Uncanny Valley, and more. Yeah, Uncanny Valley is definitely a big one.
Well, and I think one of the things about is location, right? Is taking you out of your usual surroundings. There's kind of like there's there's two classic locations. One is you go to a strange place and strange things happen,
Mm-hmm.
but because you're not sort of at home, uh, they're even stranger and weirder and more threatening. Or there's, the scream or the I know what you did last summer, where everything around you is familiar, but there's a dissonant something that's been introduced into
Oh,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Cross means by Uncanny Valley, because, yeah, that's,
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
everything is perfect normal except for this one tiny detail, which probably most people won't even notice. And then
Yeah, and probably and something like like the Stepford Wives, or
oh, that's a good one, yeah.
yeah, or shoot, the one with the pod people. Why can't I think of that? I've worked on that
Day of the
film.
Triffids. Oh, not that one.
Yeah, the original was 1956, and there's a 1978. See, I know all about it except what it's called. Um, but that's the problem, is that these are people that look like something familiar but aren't. You
Hey,
know,
guys.
hey, guy, say hi, guy, guys. There you go.
There you go. Hey, Weddy.
Um, so yeah, I mean, you can come at it from a variety of different directions. I think that's one of the strengths of the genre. Um,
Oh,
but
yeah.
there's also, again, sort of the tendency to just kind of like strip it down to like, oh, and then somebody jumps out with a knife.
Yeah, I found it kind of like a cheap shot, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I
I
mean,
have, I have I have a friend who there we go, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Thanks, Dave.
text me.
Yeah. I have a friend who actually used to make horror films and then said it just has become so stripped down to its basic shock stuff that he stopped making films. So
Okay, I get you. Oh, that looks like people are very familiar with Invasions of the
yeah,
Body Snatchers.
yeah.
Quest Bartolin is saying, I enjoy horror that explores the motivations of the person or entity causing it, sort of like working out a puzzle. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, those
Yeah,
are
there's
the ones you
the
can get your teeth
psychological
into.
as opposed to you know, it's like, why does Michael Myers kill? Well, because he's Michael Myers. It really doesn't go any deeper than that in most ways. But if you see some of the older psychological things, if you watch The Innocents
Mm-hmm.
as a film, or if you read it um, in the form that Henry James wrote it, in some ways it's even creepier, because these are, I won't say normal people, but it's about the people. It's not about the horror, if that makes sense.
I think it does, yeah.
The horror feeds off the psychological aspects of it. So,
Okay, I think we should start looking at the bills in a second, but first let's do some housekeeping. So if anyone has any late bills they have not finished yet and just want to put the work in progress up, I'm just sharing the submission folder. Also, we will be taking call-ins during the stream, so let me just drop the Zoom link in there. Okay, so yeah, when your build is coming up, feel free to join the waiting list, and we'll get to you in a second. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Okay. Okay, I think we can do this in alphabetical order. No, actually, let's do it in submission order so that if anyone drops anything, we can see it. And we'll start with Sahacraft. Okay, and this is a build which he put out a video for recently, mostly focusing on these creepy trees. Okay, Mark, I don't know if you're in the chat. Oh, yeah. I mean, the pumpkins do add a splash of color, but you can tell right away it's a graveyard scene. It's got the undead running around it. I really like these statues as well. Excuse me. Okay, so I was saying that these pumpkins were handmade with polymer clay. It's also a nice touch. So one thing I remember him, excuse me, mentioning is that on their own, these trees really don't look very creepy because he put in a lot of flowers and stuff on the base, so it looks kind of without the context of the graveyard, they look super colorful, more like Feywild kind of things. Which, spoiler alert, actually gave me an idea for my own build, so we'll get that there later. But yeah, I think context really does matter a lot in these things. Yeah. If I remember correctly, that's aluminum foil with hot glue over it. Is that is that the one where they got the cadavers filled with resin or something for? Excuse me, Tom. I'm sorry because just noticed that your sound is not coming in on this one. Hang on a second. Okay, speak.
okay.
Yep, you should be audible. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah. What I was going to say is that as a plug for like these trees look like they've had the skin stripped off of them, and you're looking at the underlying systems. If you were to go to Halstead, Kansas, or Rochester, Minnesota, they have two what are called transparent people, and these are teaching aids that were made in the 30s. And basically, they have transparent skin, and then underneath that, they have color coded, and they're three-dimensional and life size.
So they're like
And
plastic
yeah,
models
they
of
look
people.
plastic.
Okay.
I'm not. They might be early plastic, but literally, like the one in Halstead is named Velida, and what she does is she rotates and successively illuminates every one of the systems inside the body.
No worries.
So suddenly she'll like the entire circulatory system will go red, and then the reproductive system will go green and stuff like that. So it has an effect that's not dissimilar to this. You know, you can see the muscles like this.
I got you. All right. Yeah, I actually never heard about them, but what I remembered was that there was this I don't know, educational art project. I don't remember what it was, but it was basically cadavers preserved in resins. So they've got
Mhm.
horses, they've got people, they've got other animals, and depending on the, I think it was the nervous system or something like that. But yeah, that I am not going to that exhibition or whatever is it.
So that's a big resin pour.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
what one of the things I find interesting about these is that they're on mounds. You
good point.
know, so it gives them a little extra height so they can kind of loom better. Um, but also it makes you kind of wonder how long has this cemetery been here?
Yeah. Oh, interesting. That's a good storytelling point there.
You know, I mean, is this, you know, is this an Iron Age mound? Um, I
Ooh.
think it's something we don't really see here. We haven't been here long enough, although maybe on the like in New England, maybe it's a chance there's a chance to see this. But if you go to a place like, I don't know, East Anglia, uh,
Yeah, British.
what you'll see
Yeah.
is that the churches are actually sunken in the ground, or at least that's what it looks like. But in fact, what has happened is that the graveyards around them have had so many thousands of bodies crammed into them
Oh, well, okay.
that the ground itself has risen.
Okay. Nice. I mean,
So,
that's
I mean, they used to like with Iron Age mounds, like if this was an Iron Age mound, when the Saxons came along, they buried their own dead in the same mounds.
ooh,
So
okay.
the mound would actually get bigger and bigger and bigger.
You know, I'm liking this because much as I enjoy talking about technique and painting and stuff, I mean, this is kind of detail that I'm not sure that Mark thought about when he was designing this, but yeah, that makes it sound awesome.
Yeah, how old is this place? You know?
It was okay. This is the last photo. Lovely work here and fantastic photography as well.
Yeah.
In particular, like this one, this is a really good shot.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how much dignity there is in being hauled around in a two-wheeled cart.
I mean, there are worse ways to travel, I guess. But yeah. Uh, so again, I'll be dropping the links to everything in the comments later. So definitely linking to this video and beautiful work. Okay, so next one up is mine, which, as I mentioned, was inspired by this one. And for this one, I was trying to tell a story in this literally a base that's 4 centimeters in diameter. So I just try to tell a story in as little space as possible. Okay, and you've got a fairy ring and a little stuffed bear.
Yeah,
So
it actually looks like a bird's nest, doesn't it?
kind of, yeah, now that you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. It also kind of looks edible, to be honest.
Yeah, you know, I kept thinking of Smarties when I was painting. Yeah, but definitely not edible. It's definitely not edible.
There we go. Smarties.
I think that would be a great challenge. Yeah, I think you're talking about the 40 millimeter thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting. You know, it's in a ring. What exactly is supposed to go on in the middle of the ring?
that's the thing. It's like, you know, the whole thing with mushroom circles is that they're literally just a circle. But the whole folklore around them is that people disappear in there, that they're gateways to the fairyland or the other side
Or the
or whatever.
Feywild. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So they, just
yeah.
a gateway for people to for fairies to kidnap stuff and people and animals and so on. So hence the stuff where it's like little kid is going through and yoink.
So in other words, this basically fairy circles need to be controlled substances. That's really what it
Pretty much. Now back to what Quizbertrain is saying. Yeah, I think that would be a great challenge. I remember that Joe Levine from Encounter Terrain used to run this. I think it was monthly, but it's not going on at the moment. Monthly challenge where they used to do Encounter 10 by 10, where it was build something to a team, but it has to go into a 10 by 10 centimeter base. But yeah, I mean, making a random change, okay, say we have, I don't know, 40 millimeters or X amount of space and building to that would be interesting. See what everyone comes up with. It looks like a stuffed bear, but not what I was thinking about. Literally just, but it is also possibly a very good story.
he prowls around the edge. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, thinking about it, that might actually be what lures people to the mushrooming.
I think he looks at the mushrooms and is like, "That's dinner," and then he's sadly disappointed.
Or maybe he just took a bite out of one of the mushrooms.
Yes, he has no idea where he is now.
I can taste the music.
That tastes like blue.
So yeah, that was really quick. I enjoyed making it because it's a really simple build and the challenge of telling a story in that small space was quite a lot of fun. Okay.
Yeah, that one has much more of a peak on it than the others.
Yeah. Now, what I'm thinking is actually making a bunch of them and maybe casting them because they're really useful to put on their terrain and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to drop the Zoom link in here again if anyone wants to join the call. And up next is Dirty Basement Terrain. Coming up. And we've got this great big Necromancer's Tower. Man, that's out of skulls.
Yeah, that is a ziggurat from hell.
Trademark worms. So
no baby head.
No, I specifically asked for people to go for more of a disturbing than gross kind of thing. Exercise those creepy muscles.
Right. So we got runes, do we? Are they individual runes?
I think they're all the same rune, but yeah, there's one of the thing that. And if I remember correctly, Lawrence was casting these from what you call them, the molds used to make ice cubes. So that's plaster. So I'm guessing that's very heavy.
Yeah. What the litter that is on the ledges looks so good. The worms going there, and then it looks like there's just junk that's built up over time.
Okay, what the hell? I'm not sure what Chris Bertain is talking about. Yeah, the top of the tower is it looks like skeleton figures.
Yeah.
Probably some dollar store. That is, and yeah, it is playable. So we've got these all these platforms to run around on.
Yeah, you could get a hell of a globe of power at the top of the tower.
Oh, that would be really cool. I'm sure that Daffit could come up with something to put in there or something.
You would have to stop every few minutes for, ads or something.
Oh, okay. So these are the maggot golems he made last time. not actual maggots. I think there are some on the base, but most of it is what do you call it? Green stuff. So the only maggots that are the ones on the base.
Oh, that's very cool. I like that.
Okay, and I see some really nice vintage skeletons in there. So yeah, Lawrence, this is really good
It
work.
makes me wonder whose skulls those are. You know, those are pretty big skulls.
Yeah, tasteful placement of maggots.
Yeah.
Oh, look, speak of the devil, Daffy just rejoined us. Hey, man. Okay, so judging, I'm just guessing from what Lawrence usually does, but yeah, I think the maggots on the bases are real maggots. The ones on the golems
Oh,
are made of
mealworms.
our
Yeah.
green
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and Lawrence is saying that rune symbolizes death, rebirth, and transformation. Okay, nice. And Dungeon Matron is saying, I'm imagining the tower start screaming. That would be so epic.
Yeah.
Might not be a lot of fun if you're actually trying to climb it. But yeah, I can think
Yeah.
of it.
That is not a place I particularly want to, storm with a low level party.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole thing screams like trouble. I'm thinking there are a few places in mythology or folklore that have something like this. I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe Baba Yaga's grandfather or something like that has a tower like this.
Yes. She went to visit her uncle. This is where he lives. Well, yeah, if the Tower of Orthanc looked like this, they'd have just left Saruman alone.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, well, we'll deal with him later. Gotta leave.
Okay, the shading on the doors. Yeah, the shading on the doors is really good. Let's see if I can
Yeah.
zoom up further. Oh, looking closer to it, I mean, even this fleshy-looking stuff over here looks like a really good effect.
Yeah.
And I like the other thing here is that the skulls look like they've been mortared into place, so it's not. It doesn't look like it's been carved out of stone. It's like those are giant skulls that have been
Could also
stuck
be
into
bird
place.
shit.
Could also be.
Could also be bird shit.
It could also be, I guess.
Just say birds are no respecters of persons. I'd be happy to just sit here and do something all day.
But again, thinking about that, if there are birds and they eat these worms this size.
Oh God, boy!
Oh
There would
yeah.
be. Well, now we know where the giant eagles, came from. Like, yeah, I'm going to Isengard for smorgasbord.
Oh, okay. So that flesh is just speckle and PVA mix. Nice.
Yeah, it looks real good.
And David is asking, is the inside hollow? That would make good storage for dedicated minis.
Yeah,
It could, or you could put all sorts of electronics inside to make the skull's eyes glows and stuff like that.
that's right.
Plug. So yeah, Lawrence, I don't know if the video for this is out yet, but as soon as it is, I'll put it in the comments for this video as well. Again, beautiful work, man.
Yeah, this is beautiful. I'm imagining Daffod actually doing something so that you can spell out letters with the eyes of the skulls.
Okay, no, this is an exception. This is in fact a baby head build, but we'll let it slide. Okay, actually, that's another thing. I mean, I specifically put the no baby heads in closing specifically because of Dungeon Matron and Dirty Basement Terrain, because I wanted to see what they could come up with without relying on that crutch. because I was sure they could come up with something. So yeah, for clarifications, we'll let that slide. So yeah, and yeah, again, let me just drop the chat link in here. Sorry, the Zoom link in here again. I don't know if Cleric's creation is in the chat, but let's bring him in there.
I'm kind of wondering if there's a chart somewhere about, like, you know, who are the world's largest importers of baby heads from China, and these two are at the top of the list. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can definitely check the disturbing checkbooks there for Lisa at least. Hey, Dungeons and Dragons, good to see you. We were just talking about giant eagle poop, as one does. So,
okay. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to Cleric's creation spells.
It's just going downhill.
Oh, look at all
First
the
it was scary. Now it's just messy.
Now we've got all these tiny plastic babies. I wonder what will happen to them. They're so colorful. Okay. Seems that he's gone entirely French on them. Oh, I think he's given some of them mouse as well, which is
a little bit of trepanning going on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm guessing this is just the base coat. I'm guessing, but it already looks horrifying as it is. Like I can just imagine that moving.
Yeah. Just the mouths are horrifying.
See,
that's actually looks very much like that scene in the first modern Mummy movie.
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah,
Imhotep's getting pulled down to, apparently a Christian hell, although we don't know why.
Yeah, why not? Oh, this looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not want to see that around. What that kind of thing is like you're trying to cast a teleportation spell and you miscast it and you end up with this.
Yeah. Or too many people crowd through the door at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, simple build, but this is very effective.
It's terrible that they're all trapped in there, but I also don't want them to come through.
Yeah, this is one of the kinds of build that you can almost hear in your head. It's like, yeah, I agree. It does look amazing with just the base coat.
Yeah, I guess some things are so visceral you don't need much.
That's the Tomb and the Sword and the Sorcerer. I'm not familiar with that.
1982, Lee Horsley.
Oh, I will look it up. Because Bertrand is saying Subway every morning.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's a guy with white gloves and a baton behind these guys. If you look behind the portal, you'd see him pushing them through.
Okay, so if you had to fit this into a horror genre, where would you put it?
This is the other world thing, right? That there exists another world out there. It's almost more sci-fi, but that there are realms that you don't normally have access to, thank goodness. And so it's really the other coming for you, So it's sort of this is where sci-fi sort of branches off to a certain degree, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. The weirdest
although
thing.
This looks more like horror than sci-fi. This looks more like, hey, look, there's a portal to hell. Oh, that's nice.
The weirdest thing.
Why does it have to be in my backyard?
Not far from here, there's a church. I think it was built in the last 15 years or something, and it's got these great big bronze doors. I mean, imitation bronze, I guess, or they're covered in bronze. I don't know. I didn't go to check too closely because for some reason, and I'm sure they thought it was a good idea at the time, they've got these bronze baby heads stuck into it. And I have no idea why. And it's not like they're like happy baby heads. They look like very upset baby heads.
Interesting. Yeah, you find all sorts of things like in parish churches. You always find the green man in a parish church
Yeah, but I
somewhere.
mean, I expect to find the green man in a church that was built in
new.
1100, 1200, whatever. But this is something we're talking about built in this millennium.
That means that it's probably part of the original plan for it and everything.
Yeah, I guess
So that makes it even
would.
stranger.
Yeah, I think that would be really.
It's like, look, I like what you've put together here. This is good. I like the way the app sticks out here, but we could you put some baby heads in? It's just hard to see the church hierarchy saying that, though.
Hey, Clixations, if you want to jump into the Zoom chat and tell us about your build, I'm going to drop the link again, okay? As soon as I find the window. But yeah, actually, I think it would be really interesting to find that plan and see what that was about.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's sort of like you understand that there are going to be lots of hidden things in like La Sagrada Familia.
Yeah, but again, it's not even hidden. It's literally in front of the front door.
Yeah, it's just like in your face. How strange. Is it supposed to be a statement on abortion?
I don't know. Look, I don't know many things in life, but one of the things I don't know is that if you see a large bronze door with screaming faces on it, you do not go close to it.
That's true. Unless you feel that the party can handle it.
Yeah. And yeah, the party did not want to handle it.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I'm not sure if Clarification is joining or not, but I think we can move on to Quest Board Terrains next. So again, Kim, if you want to join the Zoom chat. This was another great video, by the way, and fantastic makeover. So we're starting with a Dollar Tree Doll's house. And we ended with this.
Wow.
Yeah, but this photo is just awesome. I love it.
Yeah. See, I find that pretty horrifying right now, even without doing anything.
Yeah, and I think it's more like the old school fairy tale horror almost.
Yeah. Well, it almost looks like an architectural jack-o'-lantern.
True, yeah.
I love the looming tree.
Okay, Kim has joined us. Hello, Kim. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yep.
How are you doing?
Yay. Doing all right. Hi, Karl. Hi, Tom.
Hello,
hey.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, wonderful. No, thanks for having me.
Okay, so do you want to tell us a bit about this build?
Well, basically, I was inspired specifically by Lawrence because he was doing so many different, really incredible builds, conversions, and I've seen a lot all over, and I wanted to do one, and I decided to do it for the spooky, and I wanted to use as much of what came with the house as well. So that's why I used the furniture and used the dolls instead of minis.
And that's two of them stacked up on top of each other, yeah?
Yes, two of those same houses. I opened a couple different packages to see what I could use. So I've got about 4 packages open still, but I decided to just go with that.
Okay, so let's see.
I mean, it works as a house. That's the other interesting thing. It isn't, it's not a strange building. It looks like it was built that way.
Yeah, I had to clad the front just to, because it did look too strange being, especially with the door over a door. So yeah, I clad the front and made it.
But yeah, this works just fine. And it looks like a window at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, and the interior is something else. I mean, the way you covered it up here doesn't even you can't tell it's a plastic toy from the inside.
Yeah, I used a cork.
Cork?
to cover the front. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Interesting.
Okay, and
I
you've
like
got
the guy. The pose of the guy right in front of the open door is great.
and this one.
There is the inevitable sleepover that goes bad on Halloween with the gore.
Okay, and for anyone who has not watched Kim's video about this build yet, again, the link will be in the description. Watch it. It's great storytelling. And
It does kind of look like the girls got really disgusted with the guys and went upstairs. Just cast some spells, The guys are being idiots again, man. Let's go upstairs.
I tried to use as much of the furniture and stuff, the dresser or the buffet and the sort of closet dresser on the second floor. Those are all pieces that I glued together from the actual box, the actual package, and then just paper mache basically the chairs.
okay,
I like the rugs. They're very eclectic.
yeah, and the wallpapers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
the rugs.
are great.
Yeah, the rugs I got basically out of magazines. Just cut some of those rugs and wall hangings and things from those flyers that you get, those like signals and those kinds of magazines. I just cut the clothing out, and that's what I made the rugs out of. And then I had found some nice papers at Dollar Tree, so I used that for the walls.
Okay, I like the effect on this little bed. I'm guessing it's the same one, but you did the folds and stuff. That takes some doing.
Yeah, I had to fold it. I pre-folded each turn and then measured it, and then I laid it in afterward. And I put in floors, even with like little inlaid tiles, which I looking back, I don't know why I did that because I covered it all up.
I think you can see a little bit of them between these things here, between the rugs here.
I really like the rugs. Those are great.
Yeah, it brings the room together.
Yeah.
I was going for like a Victorian style home with just like all these different patterns and colors and things going on. And wainscoting with the toothpicks. And
A bowl of flowers. Vase with flowers.
yes,
I mean.
and the cloves for the flowers. Yeah.
It's
Close,
funny
seriously?
under the window on the left. It actually looks like a radiator.
Yeah. True.
No, the wainscoting is great. That's just like if you look at the guy standing on the right there, that guy. You've got him, you've got the couch behind him, and then behind him, behind the couch, you've got the depth as well. So,
Oh, true. Yeah. Oh, okay. Lit up like this, it looks really different.
Yeah. You kind of see more bare bones, but
yeah, just with nothing in it. Yeah.
It's interesting. The couches and the big chairs, they almost the one on the left, the blue one there, almost looks like it's somebody sitting there. The whole joke, somebody throws a rug or something over a blanket over themselves and pretends to be a chair.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, seeing this picture just it makes me appreciate more the lighting you put in here.
Yeah, it really shows how much the lighting really can add. Yeah, because that looks absolutely great.
Ooh, a video too.
So yeah, I sped it up so it wouldn't be too long.
Spooky.
So the tree limbs have skeleton fingers. So I painted that. I was going a certain way, so there was going to be different types of monsters coming in from all sides, and the tree was going to be coming in, but that was just too much stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It would look like a monster rave.
Yeah.
Or a monster mash.
Yeah. And I was happy that the pumpkins came out pretty well.
Yeah.
They're a little bit off, but
okay. I think not to be able to bring up the chats on the screen again, but David is saying, Kim, you picked up on the LED usage so well. I couldn't see the LEDs directly, nor the wiring.
Oh, thank you. I really went over that about 3 times just to make sure that it wasn't easily seen. So I appreciate that, Daffy. Thank you.
Yeah, that's where I think Victorian decor can be your friend too.
Yeah, good point, actually.
They always cram so much into a room, you couldn't see the furniture, much less wiring.
You could lose a grandmother in there.
That's right. Wait, didn't we used to have 6 kids?
Ooh, okay. And tentacles in the well.
Yeah,
They had to make an appearance somewhere.
they had to be there.
Yep. Yeah.
Even
It could be
the-
handy. You don't have to lower the bucket. It can just hand it to you.
Did you paint something over these?
Those are angry pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be
They're
happy.
really upset.
Did you paint these
And,
the fingers with something, because it looks that way in the video?
Yeah, I mean, it's just layered different, like bone color to white. And
Oh, okay.
it's just the way the light, I sort
I see. All right.
revealed the light.
Yeah.
It makes it look like it's coming in. And the battery pack is hidden underneath the tree in that rock.
Mm-hmm. But sped up. This really makes me think of some 70s or 80s television show.
Oh,
Yeah, sped up, it looks almost like it's like on fire, but the whole place is on fire
yeah.
simultaneously.
Yeah, that's why I have to learn more from David so that I can sort of really tune it in.
Yeah.
That was lights bought with a pack, so
Ah,
there are only certain flashes I could get, so I have to learn.
Yeah, I think it's just the
actually a
speed
really good
because of
shot.
the yeah.
Yeah. Really-
So Cleric was saying he'd almost hear the rave music.
Yes, exactly. That's why the pumpkins are pissed. They don't have legs, so they can't inside to get to the party. Oh man, it looks like a really good one too.
Yeah, and we can go there.
This is like you live in the Feywild, but somehow it's a John Hughes movie.
Okay, Kim, again, beautiful work, and thank you so much for submitting this. This is amazing.
No, thank you very much for having me. Have a great day.
I will do. Thank you.
I want to
You
know
too.
the shape of the guy whose tentacle that is. You know, like, is there a huge underground cavern? And this is just like one tentacle sticking up through a well?
Yeah, it's all tentacles. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
It's tentacles all the way down.
All
Yeah.
tentacles all the time.
All the way down. Yeah. All right, you all take care.
You too. Thank you, and have a lovely day.
You too.
Okay, let me see. Window next, and okay, next one up is Meredith from Scatter Terrain. I've been seeing this build develop, and yeah, there's some beautiful work on that shipwreck. So, Meredith, I'm not sure if you're in the chat, but here's the call-in link anyway. Okay, so we've got a shipwreck and this converted skeleton mermaid octopus
Wow.
thingy, and someone who has just had a very bad idea.
That is some genetic splicing going on there. Wow. You know what he's saying? He's saying, I just wanted a date. That's all.
I like the bright colors though, and one thing I love about this whole build is the texture on the wood. That looks awesome.
Yeah, the curving of the tentacles is great. I would love to see this like underwater, you know, like in an aquarium. That would be great.
Ooh. Second, please. But yeah, I mean, seeing this, I've been wanting to build a model ship for some time, and yeah, I think seeing this, yeah, I really should. Without the holes in it, I mean, but yeah. What?
But they only come in bottles. That's a lot of scoring going on there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There are even tiny holes for all the nails and so on.
That is wild. Wow.
But speaking about what you mentioned about the seeing this underwater, if I'm not mistaken, it's a work in progress. I think Meredith still wanted to put some more layers on the mermaiding. I don't know what to call it. But maybe putting this under a blue light or something like that to give it that kind of ambient light.
Give it a watery feel.
Yeah,
basically.
I think that would work really well, especially since it's already got that sandy board it's on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, just looking at the nail heads. The nail heads are great.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much detail in here.
Yeah, I'd like to see it when it's finished.
Absolutely. Where do these shipwrecks and mermaid things come into the horror thing? Because I know that we've got them since the Odyssey at the very least. But
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess it's just again the being lost at sea is, you know, you have literally no landmarks, right? Because everybody used to sail and stay within sight of land. You know, so you didn't dare sail out, even in the Mediterranean. You didn't.
Just
dare
stay within sight of land.
Into the open sea. Yeah, you just went from headland to headland, basically.
Cleric's Creations is saying the edges of the wood look so good. I feel like I'd get splinters if I touch them. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And David is saying, I like how the grooves have picked up the shadow and ending so well. That they do. I think they're pretty deep, actually, for that. Considering it's very thin, the grooves are very deep. But thinking about it, I mean, like, even if we look at the Odyssey, where you've got all these kind of monsters and strange stuff, it doesn't quite feel like a horror thing, yeah? I mean, even if you've got, the Cyclops eating the crew and stuff happening.
Yeah, well, sirens and everything else. You're right. It doesn't really feel like it. It's almost, it's a story about going home, basically. And these are just obstacles on the way of going home. Like, you're running out of gas and there's no gas station for the next 30 miles or whatever.
Which is, it's kind of funny though, because again, it's like,
well, I guess that's an interesting point, actually. Do monsters make horror?
Yeah, but it's not just that, because it's like intellectually, many of the situations there are horrifying, but the overall feel of it is more like a fantasy story.
Yeah, a fantasy travelogue.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, the monsters, even though he's making life and death choices, they aren't, and they are monsters. None of it feels particularly horrible.
So again, if you were saying zombies don't make a horror movie.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
No, I mean, we played one game where one of my sons wanted to basically use zombies to create a cheap labor force, and then he would rent it out to the city for public works programs.
Yeah, I mean, like a waste not, want not kind of thing, I guess.
Well, exactly. I mean, you don't have to, do labor laws apply? Do you have to stop for lunch? You could feed them on cow's brains, that kind of thing.
I think might be mistaken, but there was a channel called the Grudgeon Master. If I might be mispronouncing it, I might find it later and post a link. But he had an entire video purely on that.
Mhm.
Like, would it be ethic?
Well,
It was about the ethics of that, basically, which was weird, but it was a really interesting thought experiment.
well, I mean, if you remember, like if you go back and look at the early voodoo slash zombie movies, they are in fact about creating a labor force.
Yeah.
If you go back and look
Okay.
at,
Yeah.
you know, White Zombie, for example, he's creating a labor force.
Okay. Because Bortolini is saying epics have love, loss, tragedy, triumph, horror, joy, etc. Yeah. That, I mean, those seem to be more of the focus rather than whatever horrible thing happens. It's more like the monsters and stuff are more like random encounters, more like the monster of the week kind of thing. Hey, look at this cool thing I came across this week. It killed some of my people, but it was cool.
Yeah, and now we're on to next week.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, epics. Epics have to balance all of this other stuff too. Whereas, you feel like if it's a horror novel or a horror movie, you feel like, yeah, it's pretty dedicated to horror. But epics don't do that. The horror comes into it, it's sort of flavoring, but it's not the main thing.
Okay, so Dungeon Maiden is saying, tell me that you wouldn't pee your pants if the tentacle creature offered to serve you sushi. Most probably
I
that
bet she'd know all the
tentacle...
best places, though.
Second?
I bet she'd know all the best places, though.
Possibly, yeah. But I think that the tentacle creature would be more likely to offer to serve someone as sushi.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Also, her tentacles might, like stick to the plate or something.
So yeah, this was from Meredith from Scatter Train. Fantastic work. I'm not sure if there's a video about this, but I'll definitely post the channel link and update it if she releases the video later. This is stopwise stuff. I want to see how it finishes. Okay, next one up is Martin from Palpatilian. Okay, I know he was in the chat earlier. Okay, Martin, if you're there, here's the link. As soon as I find the chat window. There we go. Okay. So this is definitely one of his twig creatures.
Reminds me of Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I think it's just the way that the knees bent backwards.
There's something about the texture on it. Yeah, it's also on there. And the colors, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so...
the sight of that loping towards me across a field I would not like that.
Okay, so where do you fit this on your horror chart kind of thing?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, is this this says demon to me? And obviously that's one of the sort of oldest stories that there is, the demon showing up.
I think maybe more of a forest spirit kind of thing, like Leshen or something like that.
So I guess it kind of depends on the lighting, doesn't it?
Yeah, good point.
If it's dark, it looks dark. And if on the other hand, you're sort of evoking growth and light, so
Yeah,
it's
but
usually more green.
that's the thing about nature spirits, because they're about growth and life and light and stuff like that, but not necessarily yours, especially if you're doing bad things to their forest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there is a xenomorph feel to it. I agree.
That too, yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like halfway. It's a xenomorph that lives in the Feywild, basically.
I'd love to know if
And
those.
the head is really cool. The head
Yeah,
is really
I'd really love to know if those. I'm guessing that those hands are sculpted because they're those fingers are really fine.
yeah. They're very on point. You know, it looks like he's actually reaching out for balance.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dirty Basement Terrain and Clerk's Creation say Xenomorph, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Martin's builds are always amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish we'd get a closer look at the head, just because I wanted there are things like this where there is a head, but the sensory organs aren't there, so you're kind of left to wonder what's the head for, kind of thing.
Yeah,
This is scary, no doubt about it.
So, question about this. Okay, so what would take what would be the difference between this and say I don't know the not cosmic horror because basically that's an entirely different level completely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this is more likely to be like if you were talking about cosmic horror, this would be more like, one of the elder gods, not henchmen, but
still not the top of the food chain kind of thing.
underlings or something. It's like what's the At the Mountains of Madness,
Mm-hmm.
where the never can remember what it's called, but the point is you're never going to meet an elder god, but there are these beings that just pursue the party endlessly, and you don't know what they do really,
Okay.
but they're sort of piping, the words tekelili over and over again, and you don't know what that means, right? So, but they're inexorable, and like I said, you could just see these things coming at you in a mass, in a sense very zombie-like, but this feels like it has much more of a link to a a brain somewhere.
Yeah, I mean it does look like it has some sense of purpose or something because again of the way it's moving and it's using tools. So
it's using tools, and if you look at the back of the head, you can't see it at this point in the rotation. But if you look at the back of the head, it's almost like it has two lobes in its brain.
Okay, what would that mean?
Probably bread. Was it bred as a servant?
Oh.
You don't want your servants to be too smart, right? But you need them to carry out certain tasks.
You need them to be smart enough, yeah?
Yeah. Is this somebody that you can send out on an errand? So you got to go through him to get to the big bad.
Yeah, Harold sounds like a good way to put it.
Yes, it's a butthead, Lisa. That's what it is.
Okay, excuse me, because I seem to have lost my...
Next one, Martin's going to do Beavis, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, these kind of things are like just the low-ranking servants who start to wonder what the big guys look like. But
it's interesting. We'll see it when it comes around again. It actually has a butt as well, I think. If you let it rotate a little bit more, I think it actually, you can actually see like where those spindly legs sort of connect.
Yeah, it does. It does have a butt.
Yeah, there's a point where the lighting lets you see that right there. You can see, I mean, that perfectly natural. That's what I'm saying. Was this bred? This looks like a real creature.
Yeah. It's like some weird amalgamation of flesh, twigs, Yeah.
Flesh, twigs. Yeah,
This,
yeah.
this looks the head looks kind of like a mushroomy to me.
It's a vegetarian? What? You have to come up with a new word for it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Martin's work is always amazing, and he's one guy. Like, if he ever did an exhibition, I'd probably go up to see it.
Oh, this looks very much like something uh the Guillermo del Toro exhibition that they had at the LA County Museum of Art a couple of years ago.
Ooh.
You know, this would have fit right in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. So yeah, again, Martin from Pulp Atelier, beautiful work. And next up is Dungeon Matron. So, Lisa, if you want to join the chat, let me find you a link, or you can just, go over and push Tom out of his chair or whatever.
Yeah,
No,
that's right.
don't
I
do
don't even
that.
know where
Nice.
she is. Yes, an herbal carnivore. That's a great way to put it.
Here we go.
Yeah, I haven't even seen this, and I can tell you it's the greatest work of art ever created.
No, it is beautiful. I mean, I've seen the pictures earlier, and this is good stuff.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Hi.
No, it is beautiful. I mean, I've seen the pictures. Just turn off the volume on your YouTube.
How's everyone doing?
All good, thank you. How about you?
Nice. I'm fine. I was freaking out because I couldn't get the stuff to upload today.
No, that's fine.
I'm good. Can you hear me? Oh no. Sorry, hang on.
Okay, take your time.
There, here we go. I always do that every time.
Yeah, that's all right. So,
Every time.
do you want to tell us about this build because it looks amazing?
So you were looking for just spooky.
Yep.
I was thinking, okay, what's spooky? What's spookier than a haunted house? So I just did a room in a creepy house. It's not even, it's more than creepy, it's bizarre. You know, you've got two-headed portraits of two-headed people and pictures of
skull
pictures that
wallpaper.
are actually have, yeah, with the hands actually coming out to grab you.
Oh, okay.
And then you can't really, from this picture, you can't see the one at the very end. She's very skeletal and doesn't look all that healthy.
Okay, so it seems got
That's
some wiring going
yeah.
on in the back.
Uh-huh. That's the wiring in the back.
This is the skeletal lady that you talked about?
Yeah, that's the skelly lady. Yeah.
The lights are have the little hands holding them. Nice.
Yeah, lights are hands holding it out. Thomas, where did I get that idea from?
You got that from Jean Cocteau and
Yes, I did.
The Beauty and the Beast.
Which really, that image really stuck with me because when if you look at that movie, which is an amazing movie, by the way, she's running down the hallway and these curtains are blowing in the breeze as she's running down the hallway. But then she comes to another hallway where the lights flicker on and the arms holding the lights literally follow her. They move as she moves down the hallway. And then it's creepy. It's all freak. You know what I mean?
Yep. So Dungeons and Chronicles is saying that he loves the paintings, and Cleric's Creations is saying that his eyes keep going to the two-headed portrait.
Yeah, and basically I did that on the computer. The portrait. I took the portrait using software, made the second head, just copied it and gave it two heads.
All right. So the sort of multimedia going on here.
That wallpaper, by the way. Oh, you're asking about the wallpaper, David. That's just I found that pattern online and just copied it over and over and over onto and printed it out.
So Dirty Basement Terrain is saying the Slacker did an amazing job. Also, yeah, David is saying that's Karl levels of wiring. I disagree. I disagree. Because I believe there's other stuff holding the wires in place other than tape.
That's just tape. Yeah.
Oh, just tape. Okay. Oh, then it is Karl levels of wiring.
It's just tape.
Okay, and yeah, we've got this weird mirror here. It looks like it has depth.
Yes, there that skull that you see in the mirror there, that's a light behind the mirror that turns on and off.
Ooh.
In other pictures, you'll see that the light is off and it's just a mirror. So that will suddenly, you'll be looking in the mirror and suddenly that skull will appear out of nowhere.
Nice.
So if the woman to the left was looking in a mirror, she could actually see herself twice.
Right. She'd be looking in the mirror and she's like, oh, I look good today. Even with the skull pops up, she's like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
People keep saying I look like I'm just made of flesh and bone. What are they saying?
And what about these the frame of the mirror, for example, and stuff? Is that those puppy stickers that you
Yes,
use?
they're dollar store puppy stickers.
All right.
Yeah.
By the way, for those of you who've been into a haunted mansion, this is so haunted mansion-y. It's frightening.
I know. It's almost too tropey.
Hey, tropes are good. I mean, like, what horror movie is not full of tropes?
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, this is a classic horror film set. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
here's the bear without the light, yeah?
without the light, yeah, it's just a mirror. That window, by the way, all right, Lawrence, Dirty Basement Terrain. He gets full credit for this idea. That window, so it's a puppy sticker. If you look at the video, you'll see that you can see through the window and you can see the lightning flash through the window. Because if you peel those puffy stickers away, which are embossed with patterns, you have a clear piece of plastic.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it serves as a perfect window.
Ooh, okay. So we can put a light behind it and
Yeah, there's a video with it in here somewhere.
right. We'll get
I
to
think.
it in a second.
Yeah.
And this goes from your lighthouse build, yeah?
Yeah, I figured she needed to have somewhere to go. The lighthouse is too boring. She needed
He
to
needed
go.
to get out.
She needed a night out. Exactly.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, this room, it already looks creepy enough without the actual ghost.
Oh, I have to talk about the floor of this room.
Yeah, please do.
Because I am so pleased with how that floor looks.
You should be, yeah.
Basically,
So.
the carpet's covering it, of course. But at the Dollar Tree, there what are they called? They're burnishing kits where you can burnish stuff onto patterns and stuff. And this is just a piece of burnish. It's just a piece of wood. That's all it was, just one big piece of wood that I cut into strips and burnished it onto the foam or the paper that was that's on the foam. That's on the paper on the foam.
Right.
And it looks so good.
It does.
I just basted it black and then burnished the strips on, and it looks like I was amazed with that. I was like, whoa.
I thought you had stained it with something because the color looks really good. And
I know.
It looks.
It was just burnished wood. It's just burnished.
And also once you look more closer to it, there's also like wear patterns on it.
Yeah.
That's a really good effect.
It is, isn't it? I was amazed by that. I was like, whoa, I did not expect it to look that good.
Yeah, but that's definitely something to keep in mind for other projects because, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Floors are something you keep making, so yeah, definitely want to add to the list of techniques. Oops. Skip something? No.
I like the door too.
Yeah, the door. The door is that also a sticker?
No, well, that's a sticker. Yeah, that's from the book. That's the puffy sticker. That's from the book. But then the door itself, the frame, is from a Dollar Tree dollhouse.
The same one from from the kind that Kim used, you mean?
Uh-huh. Yep.
All right.
So is the window.
It does look pretty. I thought it was painted at first, but yeah, it looks really pretty. Okay, here you can see the hand sticking out of this painting.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wish we had a better picture of that.
With the
Oh.
hand sticking out of the picture of
Yeah,
the
the
painting.
hand sticking out. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't. I couldn't get it.
It's good. Okay. Oh, okay. We've got
I tried.
video. Just going to enlarge it. Oh,
There we go.
That is such a good effect. So how did?
Alright.
That is a bad storm.
Yep.
Yeah, if she goes outside, she'll get her ectoplasm all wet.
So what did you use
Well,
for
of this whole build, I think the window is my favorite part.
No, I mean, look, the whole effect you got over everything. Like I said, this looks creepy even without the ghost. It looks awesome with the storm and the skull window and stuff. Mwah. Yeah, chef's kiss.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
how did you get that effect? Do you do something fancy with the wiring, or just?
I cheated. That is behind that window is Thomas's phone showing a YouTube video of lightning.
Oh, come on! Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, God, the spectacle effects.
David is like, wow.
No, I didn't expect it. That's genius.
Yeah, when we were finding the video, it almost gave me seizures.
That because of the sparkles.
Yeah, just kept flashing. I'm like, it's going to get me. I'm going to become epileptic.
Okay, so Chris Bertolini is saying you've hit all the haunted house notes. I agree.
Yep. That was the idea. So spoopy.
Oh yeah, very much. Love the stuff.
I like the one of the things too I was working on. I spent a lot of time with detail and the wainscoting and the crown molding and all that. It's funny because when you look at the whole thing in itself, it's not a big deal because you don't really put that, you don't really take that into consideration until because when you look at the whole thing, it's all one piece, but it pulls it so much together for me.
Yeah, and the closer you look, the more there is to see.
Yes, I mean you can just keep finding new details because I'll be honest. I mean, I didn't even notice the crown molding at first until you mentioned it. Because there are other details that draw attention. For example, like Claire's mentioned, as soon as you notice that there's the two-headed portrait there, your eyes just keep going back to it. But the other things, I really like the idea of the skull in the mirror only appearing occasionally.
Yeah, you could turn it on and off.
Because that gives some kind of movement to it. So yeah, you're just watching this thing. It looks that thing flashes on for a couple of seconds, and you're like, "Wait, what happened?" So yeah, but and the thing with the mobile phone, I mean, come on, that's absolute genius.
Cheating. I cheated.
Yeah.
I was asking Daffod about how do I get lighting effects, if there's a way to do lightning effects outside of the window. But I wouldn't be able to do it in the short period of time that I had, so I had to cheat with the phone.
I mean, you could have taken two electric, two high voltage cables and just. But that might be a bit dangerous.
I don't think I mean, it would require one of Daffod's boards to probably do it. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, spoiler alert for people at home: do not take wiring advice from me. It's not a good idea.
So, Lisa, are you going to build the rest of the Haunted Mansion too?
Of course,
No,
yes.
that's it. That's going to be a book nook, I think.
This is beautiful work. I think I've seen some pieces you were building on, but seeing the whole thing together like this, beautiful work.
Thank you.
I paint me impressed.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, it was fun making. It was grueling but fun.
Grueling? Why is that? I mean, apart from all the details and things, I mean.
The details. It was the details, putting the little the little pieces in the middle of the wainscoting, because it was just empty wainscoting, and it just
These little
it needed something.
things, yeah.
Cutting those little tiny pieces from the I don't know what you want to call them, the tops to the Dollar Tree Christmas ornaments, and it's making those was just
So wait, those things that don't come individually, you had to cut them out one by one?
Yeah.
Oh man, you are a very patient woman.
And I'm making sure that the foam had a wood texture to it. So that's both foam and wood. The most of the wainscoting is foam, and then the top part is a wood skewer, dyed to a shade close to it, and so is the baseboard. It's also a wood skewer.
Okay, so Cleric's Creation is saying it looks like something from an Edgar Allan Poe novel. Yep.
Yeah.
And Mia Geek is saying, and just got home and you're still here. Yeah, we're still here,
Yep.
and I believe your build is next, Mia. But actually, that reminds me, Professor Dungeon Master put on what was it? The Telltale Heart, I believe, where he's basically retold Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart using only miniatures, and yeah, that's worth a watch. I think had released it about 6 years ago. He's just released it now, but good stuff. And yeah, I think you have him bet on the sets. You have him beat on the sets, because this awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for doing this challenge. This was fun.
Oh, I'm enjoying this one.
You can tell there's wiring involved because look at the ghost's hair. I think she stuck her finger in a light socket or two.
Yeah, maybe the sleeves got crossed.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us, and
have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, and great to see you.
Keep being smexy, honey.
Okay, let's move on to next build. Just paste this in here again. So yeah, Mia, if you want to jump on, I believe your build is next. I really like this one. And what do we have here? Oh, I believe it starts from here. Okay,
not fooling around with the tentacles. Wow.
No, now that you mentioned, this would be a great way to build gigantic tentacles.
Yeah, yeah. Or giant coiled up snake, anything like that.
Like a 3 foot tall kraken build kind of thing. Hey,
Yeah.
hey Mia, how are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
A bit low, but yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, let me move that microphone a little
Actually, that's
closer.
better. That's better. How are you doing?
Sorry?
How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. Just tired.
Okay, so what have you got for us here today?
It was supposed to be a lighthouse. I didn't finish it completely, but ultimately it's supposed to be a lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, XPS foam all squished together and then cut up to give me the rock texture I wanted. And then
That's some kind of
yeah,
clay or sculpture mode or plaster.
yeah. I know when we were on the crafters meet, I think they were like, "How are you doing those stairs?" At the very like, I'm looking at the YouTube video. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing that. That's behind. The stairs, but yeah, that is some sculpted mold with some like gray black paint in there, and then a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of like polyfiller or spackle with some sand in it to like crunch up against the stairs a little more.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But the tower on the back with the bricks, the design was for it to like be on the rock, but I kind of had to add that extra bit at the end to make sure that the tower
Yeah,
had
this bit,
its
yeah.
support.
I see.
Mhm.
Okay.
Went back to get that, and then I know again on the crafters meetup, all the talk about the stairs and you said something about needing a deck save just to make it up the stairs and down, but I had intended to get the rail system in there, which of course those are just matchsticks and
Coffee stairs, I think. Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
thank you, as my brain shuts off. Some coffee stir sticks. But yeah, the like 99% of this build is foam as
Okay,
usual.
I like that you went for wood on the little hut in front. It gives some variation of texture.
Yeah, there was an actual lighthouse that I modeled like the rock and the stairs on, and then of all the crazy things, like the rickety shack from Harry Potter for that shack.
Okay.
Oh, the
Was
Shrieking
the
Shack.
was
Yeah.
yeah, it was the
Yeah.
idea that it would hang a little bit off the edge. But as we move into the tentacles, I had seen a bunch of tutorials on making tentacles with like floaties, those big floaty tubes for the pool.
Uh-huh.
And I just wasn't, I was like, I don't want to do this in foam and wire and yada yada. And then like, or not foam, but like sculptors foam. But then like I saw a recent video on YouTube as I was doing some searches, and the guy used that foam, like I think it's called like backing board or something. It's just like cylindrical, um,
Uh,
crappy like foam, very similar to a floater tubey thing, but it didn't take hot glue well. It melts a little bit, but yeah, I just used some wire and put a slit up the middle and then hot glued it all in there. So the tentacles are posable. They're a little
okay.
off weight. They tend to lean and fall over if you get them too far over, but um, I might
Oh,
increase the
okay.
base so they don't.
And use the beads for the suckers. Okay.
Yeah, the video, I should give the guy a shout out. I posted on your Discord where it came from.
Okay, thanks. I'll put it in the description as well later.
Vindaga Games. It's like a 3-year-old instructional video he put out. But yeah, he used the same stuff. He used wood beads. All I had were these plastic beads. I had some larger ones and slightly smaller, so I could get a little bit smaller on the tentacle sucky cups towards the top.
Based on the colors, I'd say this was from a 1960s movie.
Right. And it's always do like to include the in progress photos just to see where things are. I had base coated that whole thing in like black paint and Mod Podge, And then I hit it with some sanded, hit it another layer of black paint and Mod Podge, so everything's really locked in there.
Okay.
And then test driving those tentacles.
Oh, these look good.
And, then going back and hot gluing all those little beads in there. They kind of melt in just a little bit. If I gave them a little pressure, so they could sink down into the foam a little bit.
The color makes a huge difference, and I really like the texture they've got on them.
Yeah, it really works out. There's a point where you see in one of the photos where it's bending over slightly and it kind of stretches it thin. But yeah, when you're bending it backwards like that, it gets that great texture on it.
It actually looks rubbery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really worked out well. I was like, well, I could always add more texture with a hot glue gun or maybe some tissue paper and glue, but I was like, no, I was just running out of time. Each of those tentacles to glue those beads on was like 45 minutes each, just
I can imagine there's hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And then
that's the point at which you think maybe a small octopus rather than a kraken.
Yeah. But the idea, I'd seen some artwork, and again, in taking inspiration from other folks, and I don't know how many photos I've seen like that, where like there's a outcropping of rock with a lighthouse on it, and like Cthulhu tentacles coming up. I mean, everything in there is just inspired by someone else's artwork. So
let's see.
I said earlier I didn't finish it, so the lighthouse portion on the tower isn't done. So I just kind of stuck the plastic bulb up in there that I was going to use to put the light in.
I mean, the build is amazing, so I'm guessing you're going to finish it epically sooner or later.
Yeah, I've got some lights here I would like to use that. I just have to figure out how to do them yet and get a little platform on there that doesn't look too crazy out of scale and everything. So
let's see. Cleric's Creation mentioned that the pipe insulation, the foam pipes looks like thin insulation cylinders you stuff in between windows. I'm not sure if that's what they're.
I think it's called, of all things, like backing board, which is a really weird name for it. And it just comes in long coils. If I turn my camera on, I could show you a bag of it because it's way over there though. But
sorry, don't worry about it. But yeah. And let's see. Questboard Terrain is saying the tentacles and skin are so lifelike. I totally agree with that. And Dungeon Matron is saying I like how the tower is on an overhang.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of like make that represent like the water rock it all had been eroded out from under there and pushing the tower up and out over the sea so those tentacles could really get to it.
Yeah, but the with the board over here looks the part.
Yeah, it's interesting with the globe up there. It's almost like the Kraken is saying, "That looks like a fishbowl. Have you got one of my kids in there?"
Right? Yeah. I want one of my spawn back.
Yeah. I've only got 23 million of them, but every one is precious to me.
Yeah, I've been using that blue piece of like satin fabric for like 20 years as water in my games. So
it works really well. I mean, it's got the reflections, it's got stuff, the color.
Yeah. And then like Bimini blue, I think is the color of the paint on the base of the tentacles to give them a little bit of, to try and match them up. But
no, I like the texture on the rock. It looks weathered. It looks like it's been eroded.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hitting it with that hot wire cutter and kind of like sawing back and forth rather than just kind of cutting down. And I just kind of rocked it back and forth so the wire kind of like hits it and dives in at weird angles. And trying to get like some multi-tonal colors in the rock. It was black, and then I gave it an overbrush and white paint. And then I came back and hit it with a dry brush of like a pewter gray, and then dabbed on some brown, and then hit it with a black wash.
Yeah, I think the color variations are visible in a lot of places. It's it's got that nice, rich, varied color.
It almost looks like some of the rock faces in like Utah, northern Arizona.
Yeah, like Monument Valley and stuff
Yeah,
going
yeah.
up into Utah. Um, yeah, yeah. That was kind of the effect. I wanted to get that cutout going on. But the tower itself, that was I again going into paint colors. The tower was an overbrush of white paint and then a dry brush of that pewter and then the
Mm-hmm.
black wash. Of course, when it was all black washed and wet, it looked great because all the rock was wet and slimy looking. I might go back and put like a gloss varnish on like the bottom half to make it look like the water's been
Oh
splashing
yeah,
up on it.
and I like that the colors of the stone and the rock are distinct, and the wood also is its own color. So it's not like this could have been ended up looking all gray or all brown. But I like how they're very close, but they're very distinct colors.
Oh, thank you. And I had meant to get around to putting some filler in between the cracks, like I've seen you do a lot of times, Carl, on your videos where you fill the crack. I just hadn't got there yet. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, it's one of my favorite parts because it hides a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, you can see the pink foam poking through in some of those cracks. So
Yeah, that's all right. This, I mean, it already looks epic as it is, but once it's finished up and stuff, you know what you could do for this one? You could. You said you were going to make a lighthouse, right? But
like
what
what?
if you?
I'm sorry, Carl.
I said you said you were going to make this into a lighthouse, but what if you made like replaceable tops for the tower? So you could say,
You know,
okay,
and I literally was thinking about it earlier. It's like, well, I could just make this modular, so it's got like a modern lighthouse top, or pop it off and put like an old like uh something with like yeah, the fortification up on top,
yeah, because I mean,
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
crenellated top of a castle tower.
the whole build is so good. I mean, like you don't want to restrict it to nope. It's just a coastal lighthouse. I mean, you could if you wanted to put a I don't know a fortified tower on top. You could just be on an outcrop of rock in the middle of summer or whatever. So we could get much more use out of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
whichever.
you could just have a variety of party hats, basically. It just depends on what party you're going to.
I even thought about going like, I'm just gonna buy an old lamp and run a light the stand up through the base and have like a light on top. So I could
Mhm.
just put it in the corner like a lamp. Okay.
It-
Yeah, I
Gotta
mean,
make a lampshade and paint something on it
yeah.
too. But yeah, anyway.
I mean, it would be
But
a
yeah,
cool
thank
upgrade.
you. I wish I had gotten it completely done, but I've just things have been a little weird over here. I'm not going to go into any detail, but
Okay, not
it's
on open YouTube, definitely.
yeah, yeah. That's all good though.
Glad to hear
Just
that.
helping some friends out that needed it. Yeah, the again, looking at lighthouse reference photos, and there were a couple lighthouses that had that kind of weird finger reaching up at an angle out of the water, and it's like that was
Mhm.
a big inspiration. I have somewhere I've got them all labeled by their locations and names. I could tell you which, but somewhere.
Yeah, that doesn't. I mean, this is a moment of excitement in the lighthouse keeper's life, but most of the time he's probably just really bored.
Yeah, I'm very. I fortunately had some like those, shout out to Reaper, some Reaper Mini like investigator figures I could stick on there. So those probably came out of like Bones 4, and I haven't got around to painting in them yet. So yeah.
Okay, and I see that Quest Bortain has made her Monty Python reference regarding the all the Kraken spawn. Every spawn is sacred. Every spawn is good.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I think that deserves a slow clap.
Yeah, one of the things I like is if you use this in gaming, you can literally move the tentacles around to reflect what's happening in a fight.
Yeah, the guy whose video I copied his craft technique off. He was building a Kraken, and yeah. So, and again, they're flexible enough. I could bend them and shape them a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, one
I
thing
don't
I
know what
like
else to say. I guess I want to get some gloss varnish on those bases, maybe put a little cotton with some glue to make it look like the water splashing up, and get some white down there and gloss some things up to get it
yeah, well, one thing is that
sufficiently.
it's a lot more playable than I thought it was, because the figures can stand in there. I thought the stairs were a bit narrow, but obviously clearly not.
Yeah, they're not on like 1-inch bases. Those are just the plain figures with that little plat. So they don't know how well a 1-inch base would fit on there.
No,
But
fair enough.
there are a couple of spots they could. Yeah.
Yep, I'm definitely looking up the video for this.
Yeah, I posted that link in your Discord under the YouTube channels.
Thank you. And yeah,
Guy made it.
When you just put the globe up there, it kind of looks like, the Addams Family gumball dispenser or something.
Right? That'd be awesome.
yeah, maybe that's all the tentacles want. They just want a gumball.
Yeah, I had found an LED light at the Dollar Tree that's like just about perfect. But it's got needs like 3 A batteries, and that would topple the thing over. The base of that thing towards the front, I had to dig out a big hole and put a bunch of like glass beads and washers in to keep it from tipping backwards with the
Of course,
weight
because
of it.
it's basically the end of a very long lever. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it worked out.
No, I bet you could get some really cool shots out of this because of the perspective.
Yeah, like that. That's the thing, though. You get a shot like that, and you're like, oh, that's why they built a lighthouse here.
Yeah, it all worked out. So I'm happy with it. Thank you.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, it's a really, really great build.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But yeah, I just, and quite honestly, I can only sit here and craft so long before my neck and shoulder just prevent me from sitting here to craft. So it's like, unfortunately,
I mean, come on, it's a hobby, not a job or an obligation. But I mean,
right.
This is awesome. I mean, like, I never have a problem of seeing work in progress stuff. I love seeing stuff in progress. Oh yeah, I mean, awesome job.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Karl. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see it. If you do go the route with the various tops, that would be a good thing to see, a series with all the different tops to the tower.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was an afterthought, but yeah, I appreciate you supporting that thought. I'll see about doing that. So. And the whole thing sits a little bit cockeyed to the right, so it's like if you look straight on the table, or is it leans a little bit left. I'm sorry. So it's like, anyway, that's not important. But thank you, everybody. Yeah, hopefully,
it's been a pleasure.
Get some additional bits made for that. So.
Okay, and yeah, thanks for submitting this and for joining us. And you have a lovely day.
No, thank you. I'll catch you all later.
Yep.
Take care. Where's that disconnect button?
I think they moved it again. Yeah.
See you later. Lower right hand corner. Okay.
Okay, I think that was the last one for today.
It's interesting. Like when we do the Kraken or whatever, a lot of these were actually historical.
Historical in the sense of
well, I mean, these are old legends.
Yeah, fair enough, mythologically.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Actually,
guess people have been scared for a long time.
yeah, I would guess so. So, what do you did you get any I don't know, story ideas from these, the apart from the mounds on the trees in the first one, or like any game
Well,
ideas?
I tell you, one of the things I like about the Kraken is that it's one of those creatures that, is, I mean, it's supposed to be in the North Atlantic, right? But there's no reason why you can't have a Kraken like living in a lagoon on a desert isle or something like that.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
But
I'm sure it goes on holiday sometimes.
well, yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. It's sipping a Mai Tai. That's what we need to see next time.
Hey, Scooter Terrain, good to see you. Okay, so
But yeah, but it just goes to show again how, is it horror? Is it monsters? What is it? What are the elements that make it up? So you can have a monster that people like.
yeah, definitely.
You know?
Which is
I
kind
mean,
of
people think about like to go back to like the Minotaur. The Minotaur performed a function.
I mean, yeah, human disposal, yeah.
Yes, human disposal. Exactly.
Yeah, but it's also kind of funny how monsters seem kind of go into fashion and then out of fashion, and then I'm not sure where it began, but I think it was sometime around the 90s where you've got sympathetic monsters like vampires became nice people too.
Yes. Yeah. No. Well, there's if you go back and you actually read Dracula, if you can manage to drag your no pun intended, drag your way through that, the whole idea is that actually, for all that he's a terrible monster, et cetera, Dracula is actually very seductive, very suave.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Does that make him less of a monster or more of a monster?
Yeah, but the same token, if you read The Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter is an extremely charming and intelligent person.
Mm-hmm.
Like definitely sort of person you'd love to go to dinner with, except that you'd probably be the dinner.
Yes, exactly. If you get invited over to dinner, say no. But again, that reverses. So that is something that I think is like maybe 150 years old. No, sorry, more like 200. That really comes out of Gothic novels, late 18th and early 19th century, where being wealthy, having the nice clothes, the whole thing, suddenly becomes in a sense a bad thing. If you look at a lot of the not the Castle of Otranto, but the same sort of things like that. The bad guy is the one who marries the young girl, and she goes away to live in his fairy tale castle and finds out that it's more like Rebecca than anything else. She's isolated, she's kept hidden away. Maybe he's trying to kill her, maybe he isn't. And the atmosphere of the castle itself, or the old creaky house or whatever, is a significant character in the story. It isn't just that it's a guy trying to take advantage of her. It's the way in which he's trying to take advantage of her.
Okay, how would you put, because you mentioned that it's like, okay, if you're the rich, whatever guy with the nice clothes and stuff, but what about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is set around the same time? You've got the rich guy who is also potentially crazy, who is the bad guy, but then you've also got the monster who looks like crap, but very articulate, smart, has human characteristics, capable of compassion, wants companionship. Doesn't make him less of a monster, but
well, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's one of the questions that started being asked, wasn't it? Was he's referred to as the monster, but who's the real monster? Right. But if you think about it, Dr. Frankenstein's intentions are in fact good.
Yeah.
It's the way that he ends up. It's the consequences of his actions that are bad. It isn't, it isn't that he's evil necessarily.
Yeah, I think monster versus monstrosity. Yeah, Cosburtine. That's a good point. Then you've also got something like Jekyll and Hyde, which again is like good person, bad person. So I think that must have been some kind of really strong concern in that time, I guess.
Well, if you think about Jekyll and Hyde, so Jekyll and Hyde is written in the late 19th century.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a point in the Victorian period where morality has almost become a fetish, and the thought that out there is a seamy side of underground. Look, at one point there were something like 30,000 prostitutes in London.
Right.
And the idea that, behind the middle class facades, there's this rather icky Dickensian world that's out there. But I don't know that that's about horror. It may be about things you don't want to think about, but I think that's kind of different from horror. Horror, you kind of have no control. If you're a Dickensian character, you have the choice to go into the East End of London or not.
Mm-hmm.
But only in a horror story do you choose to go into the East End of London. You could be forced into it in a Dickens book. You could lose all your money. Terrible things can happen, and you might be forced into poverty. But that is, I think, different from living in an atmosphere, in an environment that's full of horror.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, I don't
know. Oh. Still,
and then when you just blame it on the foreigners like Dracula, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people are just scared of different things at different times, and I'm not going to say that horror is just a way to dress up those fears, because again, there's a kind of enjoyment to being frightened. Like you enjoy a good horror movie. You don't. It's not just something you just create to complain. It's
Well, I mean, the idea, to a certain degree, the whole point of horror, as it is with war, which I guess you could argue is a certain type of horror, is that everything is elevated, everything is concentrated. All your emotions are working at fever pitch. All of your reactions are extreme. And actually, my boss asked me once, like, why do you read about war? And I said, because you see people basically stripped down, and you see the real person, because there's no time to put on the facades, And to a certain degree, I think that's true in a good horror story. You are bombarding people with things that they don't know how to handle. That's the whole point of, like, Dracula being from Romania, right? He is the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point after World War II, probably when, for example, in the United States, I know this is going to make people laugh, we sort of became, I was going to say, more cosmopolitan. We at least became aware that there was a world out there. Suddenly the fear is not of the other out there. Now it's the other inside. And Cold War issues sort of brought that to the fore.
Okay, we've got a question from Dungeon Matron. Is the portrait of Dorian Gray a horror story? Do you want to take your answer first?
I tend not to think so.
I
mean, the wonderful irony of it is that it's a story of narcissism, which can be pretty horrible. But the best thing about the portrait of Dorian Gray is not the story; it's the fact of who wrote it, who was a great narcissist. So
I don't know, personally, I think it is a horror story. It's got all the elements of one, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, we don't really know what's going on, right? You never really find out what's going on.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, you don't need to find out. The point isn't why Dorian Gray stops aging. It's what he starts doing after that.
I suppose. I mean, I guess the question is it really about balance? Is that really what it's about? Is the balance been upset? He doesn't age anymore. Natural living doesn't work with him. So, is that what's going on? Is that the process? Is that you have to have balance, and if you don't have balance, bad things happen.
Another way I look at it, for example, is what would a human being do if you take consequences out of the equation?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well,
how would they act?
I guess one of my questions with the portrait of Dorian Gray is always, does he really get away with it?
Yeah, actually, because Bertrand just mentioned, I think it is what he supposedly does to others and gets away with is the horror.
Well, I mean, I think that's an interesting question, because if it's really about getting away with it, then it goes beyond, the portrait. Then the portrait doesn't matter, really. It's just a
Plot
plot
device.
mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, is he monstrous, or is he a monster? Because the two don't seem to necessarily be the same thing. I guess you could argue that he is a monster, that he is monstrous because it's his choice. But do you blame a monster? Do you blame the Cyclops for having one eye? One would hope not. Do you blame the sirens for having these seductive sounds? Probably not. So it's, the element of choice, I always feel, is kind of an important thing.
Okay, so to bounce it on a different story, is American Psycho horror?
Well, again, we're kind of back to the difference between horror and just horrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people do bad things all the time.
And it's not necessarily horror, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. People do, incredibly bad things all the time. But it still doesn't work as horror. Unless, again, you've reached that end of the spectrum, the torture porn end of the spectrum. But, I'm pretty sure that if you, for example, asked, Todd Browning or James Whale, is what are you trying to do visually or story-wise in your films? It's not going to be about, I can think up 27 new ways to kill somebody. That's because that's easy. You just, change out the attachment on the Swiss Army knife. So it is because he takes control away from his victims. But again, that's true of any criminal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I guess that, again, I think that's kind of part of it is
Ooh,
if you
okay.
make the choice to do evil.
I think that's a very good observation from Quest Bertrand. When the audience puts themselves in the place of the victim, I think the horror experience is there.
Yeah, you have to feel it, not
Yeah.
just watch it. I would agree. Yeah,
Okay,
I would agree.
that's a good point. But okay, thinking back, if you look at Dexter, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a show about a serial killer, but it's always presented that you're always following the killer around.
Right.
And it shows painting him in the best light possible in the situation. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I think you've got something there, Quest Bertrand.
Yeah, the personal identification. Silence of the Lambs.
Exactly, Silence of the Lambs isn't a horror movie, but people dress up as Buffalo Bill at Halloween.
Yeah,
Right?
done it
Right?
myself. I think again, to go back, we were talking about the Odyssey and how he meets all these creatures, and again, you don't really feel for the creatures in the Odyssey. They're not presented in a way that would make you identify with them.
They're never humanized in a way. They're never given any human characteristics. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are anthropomorphic, but they're not human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean, it's quite different from today, where even the goblins are nice and friendly, and that's a cute goblin. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or Santa Claus used to be a little more malevolent too. So.
I prefer to call it more justice oriented.
Yeah. A little more justice oriented.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there is that kind of which is why we had to replace it with Krampus, right? So.
Yeah. Can't have the good guy also being the bad guy. It's confusing.
No.
Bad for branding.
But I think that maybe that's a key, which is, things can be horrible. What is it that's actually horrible? It's the acts that are done. But horror is about you feeling it.
Okay. Yeah.
I remember going to, I don't know, one of the Friday the 13th movies or something like that. And it had all the things, the girl running through the forest, and miraculously, of course, her clothes get torn off along the way. And she ended up being killed with, something. It doesn't really matter what, that's not important, right? But you never identified with her. You just thought, here's somebody else who's going to get killed, because it's that kind of movie.
Mhm.
But in a much more sort of atmospheric situation, and I like the old, and it happened to, Nosferatu, the original Nosferatu, is one of my favorite movies. Is, even though, of course, it's incredibly dated and everything, it's real people making real decisions mostly, and the horror comes from the fact that their lives are completely disrupted by it.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the others right now, which is not what would you expect from a horror movie. Not what you would expect from a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's the whole atmosphere thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Is Freaks a horror movie?
I don't think I've ever watched
Freaks is
Freaks.
a horror movie.
I don't think I've ever watched it. No idea.
It's a great movie. But it's interesting. It would be different. It was obviously different when it came out in whatever 32, and was banned all over the place.
All right.
That was almost 100 years ago. The reaction to it is much different now. But I don't think they would have called it a horror movie in 1932. I think they would have said it was horrible. Which is, again, different, because
I guess
it's exploitative and weird, and all the things that the Legion of Decency usually said can't happen. But I would never regard it really as a horror movie, because it teaches a sense of justice. There's the sort of a message of inclusion. So I don't think it's a horror movie.
Okay. I'll definitely look it up, because it sounds interesting. Quizbertarian saying.
Oh no, you should definitely watch. If you haven't seen Freaks.
It's where one of us comes from.
Movie.
Okay. And what was the other one? The Sword and the Sorcerer? We mentioned.
Oh, the Sword.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I looked up.
1982.
Yeah, it's okay. I like.
It's a terrible low budget thing that was made after the initial Conan movie. Basically.
Okay. I'm calling it an old movie. It's actually a year or two younger than me. So.
Yeah. I love 300. It was ridiculous. It was great.
Yeah, it's fun watching anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think we should be wrapping up this stream shortly, but before we continue, before we end up, we're going to have an interview with Speeders and Scapes next week, and he's been building some awesome foam terrain apart from the kits he usually also builds. But this will probably be the last crafting challenge till February, because PKT Crafts on YouTube is starting his own crafting challenge, which is called Crafting for Hope, and that will be in aid of charities for children with cancer. So definitely, if you're interested in a crafting challenge up till February, I would suggest that you give that a look. I'm dropping the link in there, and also a link to PKT Crafts channel. Okay, so yeah, if you want to get crafting, go over there. Other than that, Tom, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you as always, and thanks everyone for dropping in.
Hope thanks, Karl. Great work, guys. Wonderful to look at.
Okay, and see you around. Thanks all. Bye, and have a lovely Halloween.